Since their introduction in 2014, the GMC Canyon and the Chevrolet Colorado have reinvigorated a market for mid-size pickups that many industry observers thought was dead. US truck buyers, they said, had little interest in pickups, or in anything less than size XL or larger. Some might say that at 212.4 inches in length and riding on a wheelbase more than 10 feet long, the short box crew cab Canyon is pretty big in its own right. But despite its length, from behind the wheel, this GMC feels much more wieldy than a full-size truck. Peering through the windshield, one looks out over much less hood, and the truck also is considerably narrower than a GMC Sierra, which makes placing it in traffic easier. Nicely weighted steering helps too. The optional 3.6-liter V6 is the most powerful engine in the Canyon lineup and sits above a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter inline-4 and a turbo diesel 2.8-liter 4. The V6 is new for 2017, which may not be immediately apparent since this one is displaced the same 3.6 liters as its predecessor. Output is barely changed, inching up to 3 horsepower to 308 and 6 pound-feet of torque to 275. More significantly, the automatic transmission it's attached to gains 2 forward gears for a total of 8. With its new powertrain, our 4-wheel drive Canyon hustled to 60 mph in 6.3 seconds. That is 1.2 seconds quicker than a similar 2015 model with the old V6. The new combo similarly chopped the quarter-mile time by 1.1 seconds to 14.9, while the trap speed rose from 87 to 94 mph. That performance edges out the Honda Ridgeline. Although the GMC's corporate cousin, the Chevy Colorado, has been quicker still in our testing, at 6.1 seconds to 60 mph and 14.8 through the quarter. The horse mode of the 3.6-liter V6 is uninspiring, but the new 8-speed automatic is adept at serving the ideal ratio. The extra gears, however, didn't move the needle when it comes to fuel economy. The EPA rates this truck at 70 mpg city and 24 highway, same as the previous version. Braking from 70 mph took a longish 185 feet, although that's no worse than average for trucks of this type, and better than most full-size pickups. The skid pad number was better, 0.8 G, matching the Honda at the top of the segment. The Denali standard wheels were wrapped in generous 255/55 R20 rubber, with tall sidewalls that effectively tolerated broken pavement. But the stiff lift-sprung rear suspension meant that bigger bumps had this pickup hopping and skipping around when there was nothing in the bed to weigh down its tail. Overall, the Ridgeline provides a much more complaint ride and composed demeanor during daily driver duties. The Denali trim level, the chrome-clad apex of the GMC line, and a model that is ostensibly one step beyond what's available in another identical Chevrolet Colorado. With a base price under $44,000, it would appear to be accessibly priced for a Max Glitz pickup. But this Denali isn't as glamorous as some other GMCs wearing that badge. The Yukon Denali, for instance, proffers Cadillac Escalade levels of finery. But this Canyon's list of amenities had some notable omissions, including passive entry and push-button ignition, a 360-degree camera, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross-traffic alert. And its cabin doesn't approach the hedonism of the fanciest full-size rigs, fitted only with a couple of pieces of plasterwood and some off-color faux metal trim that fails to make much of an impression. Functionally though, there's little to fault. The front seats are comfortable and the simple dash design proves quite logical. The central touchscreen may be unspectacular in size and graphic presentation, but it's easy to use and there are plenty of redundant physical buttons and knobs for the audio system and for all climate control functions. Accommodations in the rear seats are adequate for a 6-footer, but don't expect the expansive stretch-out space one finds in a full-sized crew cab. A narrow rear door opening also means it takes some contortion for passengers to thread themselves back there. As is common among 4-door pickups, the rear seat folds 2 ways, and that is to make the way for cargo you'd prefer to transport inside the cab. One Denali item that we found particularly annoying was the chrome finished step plates. Even as a 4x4, this truck isn't jacked up enough that most people would need them, so they're not really necessary to ease the climb aboard. And yet, they project out far enough that you're sure to dirty your pant legs as you try to step over them. With that accomplished, the Canyon becomes a very livable pickup, much more than its bigger brethren, provided your cargo hauling needs aren't extra large in size. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more.